I single-handedly broke up my marriage. You're an awful person.
You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to you? Why would you be giving therapy and advice to people who clearly need it? It doesn't make any sense, Ari. This is a horrible idea.
You're listening to
unlicensed
therapy with Ari Manis.
Is your podcast setup as nice as this?
No, this is an incredible podcast setup. Thank you. Really nice. You converted this space.
This was a one-car garage.
Yeah.
You should have seen it before. It was filled, literally filled to the brim with junk. Trash.
Yours?
No, whoever lived here previously.
Like anything of value at all?
No, nothing. I don't think I kept a single thing.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Have we been recording this whole time?
Yeah, but I'll cut it to where it starts here.
Cool.
I'm not going to leave all that shit talking in the beginning.
All that shit talking and gossip.
Where you were talking about how you think Kevin Hart's the worst comedian in the world. And
thank you for excluding that,
Yeah.
I don't need people knowing I'm putting slander on Kevin Hart's name. It could really hurt his career, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and he's going to find out.
For sure, Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, if you're listening to this,
don't
hurt Sandy's life.
Yeah, actually hire me, man. I wasn't really talking shit about you. I was talking about a friend of mine, but
what would
hire
you
me.
say?
I would be a lot of fun to be in. Kevin Hart's
I'm going to be
entourage.
honest.
Every black dude's entourage should have a fucking chubby white dude.
I'm going to be honest. Kevin Hart doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh,
but Chris Rock does. Is there anything you want to tell Chris?
Chris,
he listens. I mean it.
We've met a few times. You were justifiably disinterested in meeting me. And
how could that be?
Maybe the third time will be the charm, and we'll really hit it off. And I could be one of those young writers that follows you around when you're hosting an award show and tells you how great you are.
There you go. One time I've never met him, but I saw him at a car wash. We were getting our car washed at the same time, same place. So I'm that type of guy. And he has a lime green Porsche.
Okay.
That's the type of car he drives.
I like that.
And he was on the phone the entire time his car was being washed. He was on calls, talking very loud.
That's what you do.
Pacing
you make
around.
the most of your time.
He was pacing around the car wash on a loud phone call. I'm not saying anything about him or his character, but you do, you make your own judgment on that type of person with the lime green Porsche.
I think that's just a Hollywood type of person.
Yeah.
A business type of person.
It was very businessy.
That's my problem with my career is I've got all the creative stuff in line and I work hard, but I'm not a businessy type of person at all.
Yeah, it's definitely the least fun part of doing comedy is the booking, the promoting, the reaching out and asking for things.
It's not only not fun, but I just don't have an inclination towards I'm not very good at it. I'll occasionally get into the mode where I'm like, all right, let's dig in. I'm going to reach out to all these people. But then I forget to follow up. And it just becomes tedious. And if I hate to equate myself to an athlete because I'm not a professional athlete. Anyway, I'm an amateur athlete. But in the professional realm of athletics, there are those guys that and ladies that just want to go out there and play, and they don't want to think about all the other stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it comes down to how much of the other stuff you do. The diet and the training and the discipline.
Those are all factors, yeah.
The keeping your mind clear and all that, and I need to do those things.
Me too. I never thought about it that way, actually. I always thought, when I thought about athletes,
makes me look weird.
I thought that they did just show up and play. But now that you say that, you're right. They don't. They practice. They work on their diet. They have coaches. But you know what they don't have to do? They don't have to deal with any subjectiveness. If an athlete's the best, they're the best. They have stats. Their stats don't lie.
You want to know what? If you're into, say, basketball, which I am, it's not even the stats. The stats can lie.
But not much.
It's the tangible, physical evidence of did you win or did you not win? Did the ball go through the hoop or did it not
That's
go
what I
through the
mean.
hoop? Did you keep the other player from putting the ball through the hoop or not?
Did you get a base hit when you were up? Is your batting average this or not?
Right.
You can't say, oh, yeah, I bat 200, but it's because the coach doesn't like me. No, you hit 200 batting average. That's your average. In comedy, we can make a lot of excuses.
And I do. I make all of them. I have a kid. I'm not good at business. I bombed because I had to go to the bathroom the whole time. I didn't have time to go before my set. I make excuses all the time.
Wait, you've had a bad set and blamed it on holding in urine?
First of all, I've never had a bad set. Second of all, I never have time to go to the bathroom before I go on stage, and I never feel it when I'm on stage, but I'm just making an example of the excuses that I make.
I always get, one thing that happens to me before I go on stage, I get nervous bowel movements. I swear to God. I always, if I am performing and I have the time, I always go number 2 right before I go on stage.
I know I always want to, but don't have the time. But once I get up there, no matter what physical or illness-related symptoms I feel, the adrenaline takes over, and I don't feel them the entire time I'm on stage. Mm-hmm. There's one time when I had to rush off stage to go do a BM, but once.
How early did you cut your set due to your BM?
I didn't cut it.
You just rushed off at the end.
Rushed off. Yeah.
I once, this weekend, the first time ever my body affected my set, I couldn't stop coughing during my set.
Really?
Yeah. And not only that, my throat, the air, like when I wasn't coughing even, it felt like I was going to cough. So it was changing. It just changed everything. And I didn't bomb, but I definitely wasn't at 100.
You're in your head about those things.
I was in my head, but they are also real things. It wasn't even just head. Like, it was literally affecting the way I talked, the energy I put out. I was coughing in between jokes. Those are real things.
Yeah. Those are the kind of bombs that suck, but you're just like, whatever. There was
nothing I could have done.
Yeah, there was an impossible force that was hindering me. The kind of bombs that like really kill you are the ones where you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I should have said this thing, or I should have had a different energy, or I just wasn't in the moment.
Or that was such an amazing crowd. Why didn't they like me?
Right.
Yeah, no, this went fine, but definitely, was my worst set of the weekend. And then after,
where were you?
I was in Lexington, Kentucky.
With who?
I was with Santino.
Nice.
And I'm feeling bad about the set. Not horrible, because like you said, I had a cough. It was out.
Wait, it's like Broadway Comedy Club.
Yeah, Broadway. It was actually my third time there. I went once with Pauly.
Yeah, I've been there once.
And I went once with Theo.
Cool.
Never thought I would go to that place 3 times in my life.
There's so many places I've been to. I've been to Addison, which is a suburb of Texas, probably 12 times.
Isn't that weird? You're like, why would I be in Addison 12 times?
Yeah.
Life of the job. So I'm there for the third time. I have a bad set. Not overthinking it. Like you said, it was out of my control. Someone sends me a DM on Instagram. Hey, Ari, you should work on your cough. I thought that was him being nice, like feel better. And he goes, also, your jokes suck. You suck as a comedian. Who went to the show.
Why do these people feel like they need to reach out to do that?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, what? Even if I bombed horrendously and was terrible at comedy, who in their right mind would ever reach out to someone and send that to them?
Did they feel so dissatisfied with the show that they're like, all right, I need to do this?
Even if they did, it's like, then they got to see Santino go up for an hour. It made no sense. I couldn't believe how bad of a person he was.
That's terrible, man. I'm sorry. I've had it where, you go on the road with Pauly too. Pauly
sometimes.
Shore.
I haven't gone on
sometimes,
a long time.
yeah.
I have a theory
same
of what,
sometimes too. I don't do it too much anymore, but there was a while when it was like
I have a theory
30
of why
weeks
he,
out of the year
he
I was with
doesn't
him.
bring me anymore.
Why?
I would like to hear if you think there's any validity to this idea.
Uh-huh.
So last time I went with him, it might have been Lexington Comedy Off-Broadway. I forget. But I was with him and his assistant at the time.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you go on the road with him, he ambushes you like you think you're just going to be him and you on the road and you get your own hotel room, but then you get to the airport and it's like, surprise, you're sharing a hotel room with somebody you didn't know.
Oh yeah, this is our first time meeting.
Yeah,
we're sharing a hotel room.
I've had that a lot.
And it didn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. I'm a pretty easygoing guy.
Same.
And with Pauly, I expect not everything's gonna be the dream situation. So it didn't bother me. We're sharing a hotel room, and we got along fine. I pulled a couple of girls on the trip, brought them back to the hotel room, made out. Just say we made out into the night.
Simultaneously or just
separate ends. It was like a week long.
And run. You had to tell the assistant like, "Hey, go wait in the lobby."
Yeah. So he was cool about it.
Yeah,
he was like, "Wait in the lobby," but the next day, that came up in conversation. Oh, I had to wait in the lobby, and Pauly was like, "Not cool, bro, making him wait in the lobby," but didn't care. Was kind of joking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That same trip, Pauly didn't get any girls. That trip, I think. Deep down, he was a little upset that I got.
He doesn't really take good looking. Not that I'd say you're.
I'm not good looking, but I'm okay.
You're a good looking guy, I think. And
thank you. I'm okay.
He doesn't tip. He likes to take stranger looking guys or obese guys on the road.
So since that happened, we're totally cool. Me and Pauly, seen him, we're friends. Everything's good, but it hasn't hasn't asked me to go on the road with him. And what have I noticed? Since every opener he's brought, you, married.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Martin. Jesus Trejo. Had a long-time girlfriend, doesn't. Girls aren't his thing. Brenton Biddlecombe. Married. Or, engaged. Everyone.
Jesus gets girls.
Okay.
But he's not like a hound. I get what you're saying.
I'm not a hound, but...
I wouldn't go that far.
But... Anyway, the point is, the one thing I've noticed since he stopped bringing me is everyone he brings, the one factor.
But that's how it's always been.
Yeah. So do you think my theory could be right, or do you think it was something else?
I think there could be something to it, but you never know when you're going to get that text, call me, and then he's like, dude, I got this gig, you got to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, when I was going on the road with him when I was single and I would get girls, he would do whatever he could to cockblock me.
Yeah.
All the time. Especially if he didn't have a girl with him. And
yeah, he had no girl, and I did it like he would go to sleep, and then I would do it.
If he had a girl and they had friends, he would push the friends off onto me. And these are the kind of girls that were not compatible with me. Fake tits and bleach blonde hair. That's not my thing, and I'm not their thing. So it'd just be like an awkward, like, hey, what kind of music
I guess we're going to babysit each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then if I did meet a girl who was into me, or this one time, for example, I was making out with a girl. He's like, dude, get her number. Have her come to the hotel later. We got to go. But that would happen a lot. And he knows, because he has a joke about it, you have to strike when the iron's hot.
Yeah.
Because if they have some time away, they're just like, whatever, I'm going to go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
And that would happen there was a time in Vegas early on. I went with him to host for New Year's Eve. I met the Kardashians at the Burbank airport with him. And this is before they were huge. And we went to Vegas, and he was hosting a party. He had a bad back. I was having to push him around Vegas, congested as hell with tourists in a wheelchair because his back was messed up. And we went to this party.
Was he getting stopped a lot in the wheelchair like Pauly Shore?
Yeah. It was so annoying for me. But I was just there, young comic, hanging out with him. It's his world. I'm just living in it. And he pushed one of his girl's friends off onto me, and we actually hit it off. We made out at midnight, and it was like vibing and seeing where it was going to go. And we were dancing. He's like, dude, we got to go. Spatch. He says spatula when he wants to get rid of somebody or he wants to himself leave.
Or if he just doesn't like, that's spatch.
Right.
He doesn't like something.
A situation, yeah. That's spatch. And I was like, well, I'm like, he's like, dude, I don't care. Get her number. Call her later. I'm tired. I want to go back to I was so mad. I was so she was hot. And I don't know what happened, but she was into it.
Yeah.
But then instead of going back, I had to push him to another club for him to meet another girl because the one that was my girl's friend wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
And he just talked to this other girl for a while, and I had to then take him back to the hotel, and just through crowds of people pushing a wheelchair. And I'm a fast walker. I walk like I live in New York. You can't do that when you're pushing a wheelchair in Vegas. It was miserable for me. The next day, I just read a book cover to cover. It was the first time I ever did that. Out of spite, I just unplugged the hotel room phones and turned my phone off and read a book cover to cover. This was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. One thing that I wonder, did you show him at all that you were upset, or you just bit your tongue and
Just bit it. I wasn't in comedy for long enough or friends with him for long enough to communicate that.
Right.
There was a point the next day where it got contentious. He's like, "Dude, how old are you?" And I was like, 25. He's like, "I was already a big fucking movie star by then. Catch up, bro."
He told me that the first day I ever met him. I was in his office fixing his computer, and he goes, "How old are you?" I said 22, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I was a movie star when I was 22." Then he said, just joking, but
Yeah.
That's a go-to joke.
And I was like, "Do you gamble?" Because we were in Vegas. He's like, "Yeah, I fucking had sex without a condom, you fucking loser."
He's the
But
best.
me and him are close now. And
Yeah, you guys are close friends.
if he busted my balls like that, I would bust his balls back.
Yeah, totally.
But at the time, it was just, I was like, I guess I should be a movie star already. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's funny because one of those jokes where you're like, ha ha ha, but then also in the back of your head, you're like, I wish I was. Yeah, do.
But I think I said something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, how's it going now?" Not cool, bro.
Spatula. And then, so now lately, you've also been going on the road a lot with Adam
Ray, and,
Josh Wolf.
Josh Wolf, yeah, love going on the road with those guys.
When you
It's
go
a
on the
lot of
road with
fun.
Josh Wolf, do you do any music stuff? Because I know he's been bringing his guitar out.
He
on
brings his
stage.
guitar, and I go on and I mess around with him on stage a little bit. I've done that once or twice, but no music stuff of my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Adam, he brings Avery Pearson on the road sometimes to do music at the end of his set,
Uh-huh.
at the end of Adam's, and sometimes there have been a couple occasions when I've gone up and messed around with them too.
I feel like that's not, is that common? Like, I've never gone out on stage with any of the people I've opened for.
Really? Pauly hasn't brought you back on stage for some thing he wants to do at
No.
where there's a joke at your expense?
Not really. Maybe like right as I'm bringing him up or something, but not like, all right, come back up here like halfway through a set or anything like that. And I've definitely never done that with Theo or Santino, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But
I don't want
But I feel like that's something that happens to you a lot.
when I get off stage, I want to just decompress. But with
Yeah.
Adam and Josh, it's like, it's so collaborative that it's like, oh, I'm just still messing. It's like being at the store. I'm still messing around.
Yeah,
late
and then
night.
on stage late night, you always bring people up on stage.
Yeah. But that's more out of necessity. Like, I was doing all these late night spots and feeling so defeated seeing them
Struggling.
all leave before I get up. I would show up, the room would be packed. By the time I'd go on, there'd be 7 people in the room, 20 people in the room, whatever. It just felt 20 people when they're sitting on opposite sides of the room and all
Right,
scattered.
feels very low.
Very little. So sometimes when I bring people on stage, I'm like, whoa, I didn't know there were this many people in here. But I do that because I kept doing these spots and I just went up there with bad body language, bad posture, and I would just kind of go through the motions and be like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. And I started bringing people on stage because it re-energized the room. It
Right,
engaged
mixed
them
it
with
up.
me, got them on my side immediately, do crowd work with them on stage instead of having to like point into the dark recesses of the room and try to pull people in. And I do it at the beginning of my set. We do something silly, get a little video, get a picture. They go back. Sometimes they sit closer. And then I can try out a few new jokes.
Yeah.
And it really works in my favor. But, you know, that's different than like the headliner you're going out with being like, hey, I know you're eating your your set meal that you get, but come on. Which honestly, I don't mind. I love those guys. We have such a good. But with Pauly, he'll bring me on stage and he'll be like, "This is my son. It's my boy. I had sex with a chubby girl in the '90s, and then years later, I found out that this fucking guy is my son."
I don't think he does that with anyone else though. Does he bring Josh Martin out on stage?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I went on the road with him and Frank recently. Frank Castillo, the winner of season 2 roast battle. And him and Frank at the end of his set were doing like.
They were roasting
Frank
each other.
roasting him.
Yeah.
And then they roast each other. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So he does do that.
He does.
Maybe that's why he doesn't. He's never brought me back. I have no.
Or he'll have me come on at the end, or I'll go on at the end to bring him off stage. Pauly Shore, ladies and gentlemen, and he'll be like, "Stay, dance," and we have to dance, and then he like takes the mic back and does a little thing.
I've had some of that where he makes me dance while bringing him up.
Yeah, there was a while
God,
when I was like angry at my life and career and projected it onto him, where he wanted me to go on stage with him for I don't even remember what bit, and there was a lot of times where I was like, "No." I'm not doing it.
So you're in a bad mood, kind of?
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah, but you're pretty good at hiding a bad mood, I think.
Oh, yeah, I am.
You're a nice, jolly guy.
I am. I'm
you're likable.
Jovial.
Yeah.
I am. And I have also got a lot better at dealing with and just keeping my
How do you deal with the negativity?
Emotions in perspective.
How do you deal with
mitigating my?
How do you deal with mitigating your problems?
Instead of just feeling the emotion that I'm feeling, anger, sadness, frustration, I think about them and I compartmentalize and I lay it out and I talk through it in my head instead of, and it doesn't necessarily make you not still feel a negative feeling, but it just puts it in perspective and it allows you to function. Whereas before, a feeling like that would make me not
before
be
it could
part of the show.
Before it could ruin your day, and now you just go,
sometimes
okay.
Yeah, sometimes I would feel that feeling when I first woke up, and it'd just be how I felt the entire day, and I wouldn't leave the house. But now, especially that I have a kid, I can't allow that to happen. So I've put in a lot of work to not let me be overwhelmed by my feelings.
That's good.
Be in my feelings, if you will.
That's good advice to people listening.
Yeah.
Have you having a kid, has that helped your comedy or hurt it?
Mostly helped. It's harder for me to go hang out when
you have
I
less time.
don't have a spot. It's harder for me to work on my new bits while during the day or write new stuff or any of that. For the road, there's some gigs that I have to leave a day early and I've got to get a babysitter. It presents new challenges, but I think that it's motivated me and re-energized me to write new stuff because I don't want to become the guy that's just all dad material. So for every new joke I write about the baby, I write 2 new jokes that are not parenting or baby related.
That's an interesting rule. And
it's just I have more to work for and live for because this kid is so cute. I love her so much, and it's fun.
Even while she's crying, do you still love her?
Yeah, she doesn't cry that much. She's pretty chill. But I kind of find it funny when babies cry. It's like, what are you crying about? You don't know. But also, that's just how they communicate.
You've never just had an urge just to, put a pillow over her head?
Never.
Not even a little?
No.
Not like 3, 4 in the morning. You want to sleep so bad, it's your turn to get out and take care of her.
No, well, my wife usually
never been like, let's just leave her on her stomach for a while.
No, I mean, she's 1 now, and so she's a little bit more amiable to set her own self-soothing or us soothing her. But
are you having another one?
We want to eventually, but where things are right now, no. We're not in the near future. We're not.
Me and my brothers are five years apart each. I think it worked out fine.
You guys get along?
We do now.
Are you close?
We are now. We didn't when growing up 5 years apart. It's actually like the worst age, I think, because when I'm 5, he's a baby, and that's fine. But then when I'm 10 and he's 5, a 10-year-old cannot stand a 5-year-old. 5-year-olds annoy the shit out of a 10-year-old, so we didn't get along. And then when I'm 15 and he's 10, again, same thing. I was just two different maturity levels. It's too wide of a gap to where I just couldn't relate to him, didn't get along.
But what if it's a girl and then 5 years later a boy?
That might change things, but you can't control that, really.
I mean, you can.
You can,
We're not
you're not going to.
But
yeah.
you can.
So I didn't start getting along with my brothers till they were each about 15. So when I was 20, I didn't get along with my younger brother till I was 20 and he was 15. And then my youngest brother, who's 10 years younger than me, same thing.
10 years younger than you?
Right now I'm 29. I have a 25-year-old brother and a 19-year-old brother.
You're the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
I'm the oldest too.
So both of them, I didn't like either of them till they hit about 15. Maybe that's on me. Maybe I just I don't deal with kids well. But till they were about
I'm the
young
oldest.
Men.
I've got a brother 3 years younger than me. I've got a sister 7 years younger than me, and I have another sister 9 years younger than me.
Wait, I thought you said you're the oldest.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 years younger than you. Okay, got it.
And I love all of them. And me and my brother definitely fought. Let me rephrase that. I picked on my brother a lot
Me too.
growing up.
But I always felt like he
Unfairly.
deserved it. Oh, see, I always felt fairly. Like
No, I mean,
picked on
I
him
was just
fairly.
the older brother, and now I've apologized to him profusely since. But I just don't think as
Does he forgive
the
you?
younger brother. He does, yeah. He says he does, but I have friends who are the little brother, and I just don't think that you ever fully can embrace your brother because they shaped your perception of them, they being me, growing up. So it's hard to fully. But I was old enough when my sisters were born to really, truly see them as like little babies and protective of them. I mean, we fought.
Sure.
But
you took that older brother
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to help
And I took
these
that role
kids.
with my brother too, but just when we were littler, being closer in age, we fought over things. I picked on him. If he beat me in video games, I would get mad and beat him up, which was so dumb of me because it made him not want to play video games with me, and I would get mad when he didn't want to play video games with me. So I was just doing a disservice to him and myself.
I would just get annoyed all the time at my younger brothers. They would do something that was annoying, and I would beat their faces in for it.
I never punched my brother in the face. I punched him in the arm.
Yeah.
Pushed
Maybe
him.
you just punch them.
Yeah.
Maybe not their faces.
More wrestling than.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot of wrestling. The other thing, though, is I got sent away to a boarding school for high school.
For what?
For just being a generally nothing bad, but just I was disrespectful, didn't obey my parents, just wasn't the best behaved kid. So I got sent away to a boarding high school. So when that happened, my brothers got a break from me. That was age 13 to 17.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, they got out of it.
That must have been nice for your parents, too. I mean, I'm sure they missed you, but just having 3 kids is a lot of work.
3 boys, yeah.
And if you take one out of the equation, it makes it a lot easier.
Especially the one that I think, especially at least in their heads, was like, he's causing a lot of problems.
Right.
So, yeah. And it was good for me, too. I wanted to get away.
It was good for you.
Yeah, I didn't want to be there anymore.
Was it psychologically scarring in any way that, your parents wanted you away? And
No, because
away?
only because I wanted to be away, too. It wasn't like, we don't want you anymore. It was like, we don't want each other.
Got it.
So
Was it annoying to go to a boarding school with very strict regimens and rules?
It's different because, so when you have a strict parent, you go, this is happening to me, it's unfair, and I hate it. But when you go to boarding school, it's happening to everyone. So you can't really complain because you can't go, this is so unfair. Or if you do, you're doing it with a group. So it's like, this is unfair. Everyone's like, yeah, I know. So it's just, everything's better that way.
Is there any freedom? You're a teenager. Teenagers want to hang out.
to me, there was more freedom there than back at home. And then this was a military school because I got to, on the weekends, kind of do it. As long as you don't get in trouble on the weekends, you do whatever you want. You have the whole weekend to yourself.
What's the curfew?
I think it was either 10 p.m. on a weekend or 11 p.m.
What about on a weekday?
On a weekday, lights out by 10 p.m. But you have mandatory study hall on the weekdays from 7 to 9. But again, it's like all your friends are doing the same thing. So you're not thinking, man, this is bullshit. I want to go out and party. Or no, I never like to party, but you know what I mean? You're not thinking, I want to go out with my friends because all my friends are in study hall.
What about just like wanting to watch a movie or a TV show or jerk off?
This was at a time where if you wanted to watch, there were no smartphones. Most people don't even have their own computers. So if you wanted to watch a movie at that time, I had like a little 13-inch TV with a little DVD player, and you could do that if you wanted to. I had a TV in my room.
After lights out?
No, not for lights out, but you had school at 7, 8 in the morning the next day.
Yeah, but I remember when I had school at 7, 8 in the morning, non-boarding school, I would be out late with my friends.
See, I had strict parents. I wasn't allowed to have
I
a
had
TV
strict
in my
parents
room.
too, but like later on in high school.
For me, I was on weeknights. I had to be at home with my parents. I never was like missing freedoms because I never had those freedoms.
Got it.
So for me,
I didn't have those freedoms until I got, junior, senior in high school.
Junior, senior in high school, I had a girlfriend at that time, and we would make out, but I wasn't allowed to even have her over at the house without my parents being there.
Why were your parents so strict?
I think they thought that was what being a good parent was, and they didn't realize that there's a difference between being a good parent and being a strict parent.
Do you think that them being strict is what caused you to act out?
Definitely part of it. It made me a little more rebellious.
Because I need to get perspective on these things to shape how I'm going to be
I
a
think
parent.
there's a line, it's like you don't want to be the parent that lets their kid do everything, but you definitely don't want to be strict because that makes them kind of resent you. You don't want your kid to resent you.
Right.
At least not too much.
I'm not going to let my kid do everything, but I want to be pretty open and honest and
yeah, you want there to be
give her
open
the
communication.
I'm hoping that I do a good enough job that giving her freedom will not allow for her to make bad choices that I instill.
That's exactly
judgment.
it. See, I always felt like growing up that I had good enough judgment to make my own decisions, even if I was wrong. I always felt, probably normal, but when I was a kid, I always felt kind of like a man. That makes sense, even though I wasn't. But when you're 10, when you're 12 years old, you go, I'm a man. Did you feel that way at all?
No.
Okay, so maybe I was weird.
I still don't feel like a man.
Not a man in the sense of like, look at me, I'm a big tough man, but I felt like I can make my own decisions as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't like being told what to do.
Right.
And I was probably wrong, but I felt like I'm responsible enough that the decision I make will be best for me. And my parents had the opposite approach where this is a little kid. He can't make any decisions on his own. We decide what he does. You go to bed at this time. You do this at this time. Right. And I hated that.
Of course.
So I think it's to a point where hopefully you have a relationship with your kid where you go, okay, let's talk about this. So why is this decision? Explain to me why this decision you're making is the right decision, and if they can have a good reason, let them do it.
I'll always resent my parents for not letting me go to this bat mitzvah in Toronto. I went to summer camp in Canada with the owners of this clothing company, Roots. Okay. And the girl who was the hottest girl at camp invited me to her bat mitzvah.
But you live in, where do you live?
In the Detroit area. And
the
bat mitzvah was in Toronto.
So how far of a flight is that?
It was a train ride. It's like a 2-3 hour train ride or something.
Oh, they should have let you then.
And all my friends were going. In retrospect, I was a bad kid, and all my friends who were going were bad kids, so they didn't want me to get kicked off of the train in another country.
Did they know all your friends were bad kids? And why were you a bad kid? You weren't a bad kid.
Yeah, I mean, I was rebellious. I smoked weed. I drank.
At bar mitzvah age?
Yeah, I wasn't like
At 12, you drank and smoked weed?
Yeah.
Oh, you were a bad kid.
I wasn't like a bad-hearted kid. I just wanted to get in trouble. I wanted to get fucked up.
Oh, you were worse than me. And I got
At
sent
12,
to
I
military
tried
school.
weed for the first time. I wasn't like a pothead, and I tried alcohol.
And they
But
caught you.
this is when I was 14. She was maybe a year younger. I was going into 8th grade, or I was in 8th grade.
Do you think if you had gone to the bat mitzvah, you would have had a shot with her?
I mean, I probably thought that then, but I definitely didn't.
Well, how old were you for your first kiss?
I feel like I had my first kiss when I was
You don't remember your first kiss?
in elementary school.
No, I don't know if that counts like truth or dare type kiss. I mean,
It
like
wasn't a truth
makeup.
or dare type kiss. Here's why I say I don't know. Because I definitely had my first kiss when I was in like 4th or 5th grade.
I mean a
with,
makeout,
with
though.
my friend in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, a French kiss.
Oh.
But it was more like talking about it and let's try it than like a spontaneous
Okay, fine.
romantic interest.
When was
type thing.
when was your first romantic kiss with a girl you liked?
I guess 4th grade with my girlfriend. I had a girlfriend in 4th grade.
Wow. You were cool. You smoked weed, you drank alcohol, and had a girlfriend in 4th grade?
Yeah, man, that was cool.
You were a cool kid.
Yeah.
Were you still chubby then?
No, I was not chubby. I didn't get chubby until I always thought I was chubby in high school, but then I look back at these pictures, I was like, I was not chubby. So having this negative perception of my body image caused me to, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy once I got older. I was like, I'm chubby, whatever. But if I had just seen the way I looked when I was in high school for what it really was, I would maybe be a different person.
But now you've just, like, I couldn't even imagine
I've
you
leaned
skinny
in.
now.
I've
Yeah.
leaned in a little too hard.
I couldn't even imagine you as a skinny guy. No.
I wasn't skinny. I've always been barrel chested, but I thought I was fat. And looking back at pictures of myself from high school, and I've fluctuated,
Yeah.
but I've always been athletic and active. And I'm looking at pictures of myself from when I was younger thinking, I thought of myself as a fat kid, and I was not fat.
You were just husky.
I was barrel chested. I was husky according to the people I bought my bar mitzvah suit from. I guess I got a little chubby at the beginning of puberty, and then when I went through puberty, I got thin again. But then I would go up and down, depending on how much pot I was smoking and how much booze I was drinking.
You were so cool. You partied too, huh?
Oh yeah, I tried mushrooms for the first time when I was in 9th grade.
Oh my God, you were a cool kid.
I guess if that's the measurement.
You were probably
of cool.
popular in high school.
I was popular, but I never. I mean, I had my friends, but I never stuck with one group. I never felt like I belonged.
You were still nice to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked on kids in my class, but only for the laughs. I never picked on kids, and I always felt bad about it and apologized immediately. I would basically make fun of spazzes for being spazzes to get the other kids around me to laugh.
Right.
But then I immediately felt terrible and apologized.
So you weren't like a bully.
No.
You wouldn't call yourself a bully. Would you call yourself a class clown?
I wouldn't call myself that, but my school did. It's funny because I was the class clown in the yearbook, but there's another kid from my high school that lives in Los Angeles. He's a stand-up comic, more successful than me, been in movies. Who his first 5 minutes that got him discovered was about how he was the class clown, even though I was the class clown.
Who?
Brandon T. Jackson.
Oh yeah, but he was a black class clown. Different,
yeah.
different thing.
Yeah.
You lived in Detroit, very racially divided.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the yearbook might have been racist. Although, objectively, back then, I mean, it was a vote. It was a democratic process. People had to vote. So, objectively, I guess. There's no electoral college.
I didn't know you
in
went.
the
So are you guys
clown.
cool? Are you guys friends?
Yeah. Yeah, we're friends. There's it from just my class, the 02 class of my high school. 3 people, stand-up comics.
Who's the other one?
Crystal Marie.
You went to high school with Crystal Marie?
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. So are you guys friends too? But she started she started way after
she's
you,
been
right?
out here
She's
as
been-
long, if not longer than me.
But not doing stand up.
But she was hosting and acting, and she's just started doing stand-up 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But she's always been funny.
What of all your stand-up comedy career, Hollywood show business career, what would you say is your biggest failure or disappointment or something that you wish you could like go back in time on and do it differently, whether that's an audition, a bad show, I don't know, whatever.
That's a whole podcast. I have so many.
What's the one where you're like, damn it, like this one I wish I could just redo?
Well,
not do.
I did improv and sketch in college, and I wish I would have stuck with that a little bit more. I love doing stand-up, and I obviously was more inclined to do it because I followed that path. But I think my career would be in a much better place if I had focused an equal amount, if not more, on sketch and improv. I also wish I maybe started stand-up in a different city before I moved to LA, because I started doing it once I moved to LA.
Same here. I
think I was seen by people in the industry that perceived me as that first, second, third year comic instead of who I am now, and it's caused me to miss out on some things maybe.
Why did those people see you so early though? Because like for me, I started in LA, but I don't feel like anyone important really even actually still knows who I am. But especially 2 or 3 years in, I never felt like...
Well, you never know.
True.
The reason I feel that way is because I got a job in comedy right out of college. I worked at National Lampoon. And so I had opportunities for people in the industry to see me that way. I got a manager before I was really ready to have a manager, and he got me showcases for JFL that, looking back, I wish I hadn't done.
Got it.
And, I mean, yeah, that, and, I don't know. I just think you see all these people that move to LA, and within a year they're like on TV and doing stuff. Because they had all that time in Chicago or Austin or Seattle to suck and get good, so that when they show up, they're a fresh face that's ready to do all the things that their career presents them. And now I'm ready, and I've been ready for a number of years, but...
Yeah, I guess that is true. LA does... I mean, I wonder if I would feel this way as much in another city. I think I still might feel this way. But LA, you definitely have the feeling, for me, anytime there's a good show, I'm like, I want to do really good.
Yeah. I think that now comedy is so popular that at every show you need to do really good.
Yeah.
You never know. Never know who's in the audience. I've done shows. Paul McCartney was in the audience. Ben Affleck. Like, you just don't know.
You don't know who's going to be there, and you don't want to goof around, bomb or whatever, trying new stuff, and then after you find out, oh, the booker from blah 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 was there, and you go, great.
You don't want to do that, but at the same time, you want to be yourself and be true to yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes they see that. Sometimes that goofing off kills, and sometimes it bombs, but that one person really liked it. But you want to make a good impression.
Is there anything in your life that I could help you with as an expert on everything, like myself? As a therapist, I've saved a lot of people's lives in here. I've mended relationships. I've put people back on the right path.
My relationship is very strong.
With your wife?
Yeah.
It could always be stronger.
Yeah, it could always be
She told me
strong.
it wasn't that strong.
Oh, really? I'm not
After
gonna
we
talk
hooked
about
up.
that. Oh, shit. We had a conversation over the weekend because she had a dream that... She always has these dreams where I'm cheating on her. But this weekend she had a dream that she cheated on me.
Does she actually think that you would ever cheat on her? Because I feel like there's a lot of cheaters out in the world in general, but you're like the last guy I could imagine doing that.
I wouldn't do that to her. But I told her if she did, in like a lapse of judgment, obviously if she was seeing somebody else, you can't go back from that. But I told her if it was like a mistake, I'd want to work it out. I don't know how I would feel in that situation.
You can't tell her that ahead of time. That gives her a pass.
Yeah, but then if she does it, then I get a pass too.
Oh, yeah. Hold it over her head. Yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
I'm trying to write this new bit on how men who don't get jealous, they're not secure. They're actually just pussies.
Yeah.
Like real men get jealous. Like
That's
that's
funny.
the type of guy that doesn't get jealous is the type of guy who calls their wife their partner. the type of guy who doesn't get jealous is the type of guy who goes, "Oh well, you're not gonna do it again, are you?" It's like, no,
Oh my God,
break
yeah.
up with her, you pussy.
I'm not saying I don't get jealous because I do. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't hurt me because it would.
When
I'm
was the
just
last time you
saying-
got jealous of your wife?
You know, I'll see her texting with somebody and I'll be like,
You've got jealous
who
over
you-
a
who you-
text?
Who are you texting with? What's that? Why don't you have that number stored of the person you're texting? But she's like, oh, you mean Priscilla, the job recruiter?
I'm
that
actually surprised to hear this. I never imagined you to get
I'm
jealous
not like
over your wife.
very, very, very low grade jealousy.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
But even that, I'm actually surprised to hear you go, who are you texting? Like, I couldn't even imagine you doing that.
sometimes you just have these very human impulses
Right.
that you can't control.
Yeah, people get everyone's insecure.
I'm not really jealous, and I didn't really feel threatened. But in that moment, I just wanted to know, like, what's
going on here. Yeah. Okay, so is there anything I could help you with?
How do I do better at being more proactive and business savvy in that aspect of my comedy career?
Let me ask you this first. Do you think or let me tell you this first. I don't think I'm good at that stuff either.
Yeah, but you are. You're cutting a pilot upstairs. You got a whole team. You put out content. You got a video setup. You refurbished and remodeled this garage.
I'm proactive. Part of it is
You got an Airbnb business.
that's coming to an end in October,
That's a
unfortunately.
bummer. Why?
Yeah. They're changing the laws, the Airbnb laws in Los Angeles.
And you can't rent an Airbnb.
You can't. Basically, you need to own the place, and even then, you can only do 120 days a year, and I don't own anything. So
wow.
that side business coming in. Luckily, it's how it's so frustrating. This has always been ever since 8 years I've been here. I'll get a little gig that I scrape by with, and then I'll get another gig, and I'll be like, shit, I'm gonna be killing it now. I have 2 jobs that are paying me that are both part time, and then as soon as I get the new gig, the other one ends. That's literally happened to me since I've started. Like when my first job was working at the Ice House, and I would get $600 a week. Then I got a part-time job at the Comedy Store, and then the Ice House job ended. Then I got an Airbnb unit, and then I got a second Airbnb unit, and the first Airbnb got shut down. It's like there's been this out of my control pattern, and now this year is the first year where I'm like scraping by just off featuring. I've been featuring all the time, and like I'm making a living as a feature. And now my Airbnb, but then the Airbnb was just bonus money, and now the Airbnb is getting shut down. So it's just that's happened every time.
The difference between you and me is I had a job and I got laid off, and then there wasn't anything really after that. I've scraped by doing different things and featuring and getting the occasional acting job,
Yeah.
but nothing's been consistent.
Yeah. And that just seems like that's Hollywood. But anyway, back to getting stuff
But
done.
so, given that, I'm not waiting for other people to give me opportunities. I've been going out. I've been doing my own podcast, MFers. It's about being a dad, being a parent.
Yeah, you do a lot, but you're saying I want to do more. I want to take it to the next level.
I want to do more. I want to put in all the little things that I need to do.
So part of it, step 1 is, like you said earlier, you're not waiting for people. You literally, anything you want to do, if you have any goal, you have to know that you can do that yourself. If you want to record a special and you're like, but I don't know how to work cameras, blah, 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 you could learn and you could do it yourself. Anything you want to do, you can do right now. We live in that age. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what your knowledge on anything is.
That's true.
Even with a very low budget, literally any idea you think of, TV show, movie, stand-up special, album, whatever you want to make, you can make it. If you put in the work and the effort to learn and get it done at a cheap price and use the connections you have, I know for certain that you could do anything you wanted. So knowing that and not making excuses like, oh, I don't have the budget, or I don't know how to edit, or I don't have a nice enough camera, you can get it done. You could figure out a way to do it. So that's one thing. that you need to tell yourself and you need to know.
What's the second thing?
The second thing is tell everyone that you're going to do it. Talk about it all the time, and then you'll have too much pride not to do it. Here's a little story. When I was 18 years old, I told everyone I was going to skateboard from Oregon to New York City. I told people I was going to do it, and I really thought I was. I met people on this message board on the internet at the time who also wanted to do it, and we planned it together. And then as that month approaches to the trip, one by one, I can't do it. Everyone's canceling. My dad won't let me do it. I didn't train. I can't do it. I'm going to college. I can't do it. Now it's just me, the only one that wants to do it. I'm not doing it by myself. So I told everyone that I'm skating across the country, and now I'm not. I look like a dum-dum. The second year in a row, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do it with people off the internet I don't know anymore. I'll do it with people I know. Plan a trip with these people I know. Same thing happens. A month comes in, my dad won't let me. This is unsafe. I don't feel comfortable doing it. Not doing it. Now 2 years, I even had the local news come do a story on it. And this 2 years in a row, nothing gets done. So now it's the third year. I was like, I need to do this. I look like a liar. And I bet you no one even thought of me as that. It's just like in my own head, I've created this thing that it's my own pride and ego. So I took a semester off of college. I worked full time at a job, saved up money. I paid for me and 5 people to go skateboard across the country. So I did it. So part of it is
like
just
Forrest Gump, but with skateboards?
Yeah, like Forrest Gump with skateboards.
Where did you sleep?
Side of the road, motels, tents.
Where'd you go?
What
was your starting point?
So we started in Newport, Oregon. We finished in New York City. West Coast, East Coast.
How'd you get
feet
back?
In the water. Started with our feet in the West Coast water. Ended with our feet in the water in New York. We drove back in a Suburban. We had a car following us the whole time, so I paid for the gas. I paid for everything.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you film it?
At that time, I had no intention of being in comedy or whatever. We did have a camcorder and filmed a little bit, but I wasn't thinking like I need to capture this.
Right.
But a lot of that is my own. I don't know if this would work
waste.
for everyone.
You could have had a documentary.
Yeah, I could have a documentary. But I don't know if this works for everyone. But for me, when I have an idea, I don't keep it a secret. I tell everyone about it. It's like it motivates me to, if I talk about it, I have to do it. And then it gets other people putting their input in. Oh, I'd like to help you with that, whatever it is. But if you have a goal, if you talk about it, I think it helps it get done. Because eventually you're going to be like, I need to stop talking about it and do it. Like, here's something I've been talking about for like 2 years that I haven't done. You know that apartment show I do, Ari's apartment show? I want to do Ari's apartment comedy festival.
I love that.
A weekend of shows. Full weekend. I want Kill Tony and Roast Battle to do a show in my apartment. I want all my favorite comedians there performing. I want to have an industry showcase.
You should.
I want to have an all-ladies show.
You could do 2 rooms. You could use this room and that room.
Yeah. I could do 2 shows. So that's what I want to do. So I've been talking about it for 2 years. I'm going to do it, but
you should.
Just a matter of when. So what's something you want to do?
Well, I did this Kickstarter a few years ago that I raised the money on Kickstarter, my goal, but it just wasn't even close to the amount of money I needed to do what I set out to do. So that's one of the things.
You know what you should do?
What?
Do it anyway. If that's something you want to do. If that's something you still want to do.
It is, but I have to be strategic about it, and I have to wait for the right time and do it the right way.
No. It's excuses. You could do it. What was the idea again?
To do a comedy special on a jet ski in a hot tub that's on a yacht that is on a trailer.
Wait. So, what's the first thing is the trailer?
Trailer.
So, trailer on land.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the trailer.
Like you see
is the yacht?
A trailer with a truck and it's carrying
But
a
a
boat.
yacht with a jacuzzi on it.
Yeah.
Is that
or a pool.
That's not even going to fit on a normal trailer.
Yeah, it would be, like a wide load type situation.
Like something that could drive on the street right here?
Yeah.
So then a jet ski is not going to fit in the jacuzzi
Why
of a
not?
yacht. That would need to be a very big jacuzzi.
Or small jet ski.
Okay, so let's say we found you a trailer and a yacht and a jet ski in the yacht, and you're sitting on the jet ski. Where does the audience sit? In the yacht too, or
No.
Or
in the yacht, yeah.
so they're kind of circled around the.
Yeah.
Are they in the jacuzzi or are they out of the jacuzzi?
I would say out of the jacuzzi.
Okay, and so you're sitting down your whole special.
I think at some point I would probably be like, all right, I need to. The idea is that a comedy special doesn't need to be just a person on stage doing stand-up. It can be, It can take on different forms. And the idea in and of itself can be funny.
Okay.
And I think it would start off me trying to tell jokes while I'm riding in circles on a jet ski in a hot tub.
Oh, and now, okay, so I imagine you just sitting on a jet ski. Now you're actually riding the jet ski in this
Well,
hot
I'm
tub?
idling in it.
Yeah, you're idling it.
And then eventually I'll have to get, because I'll be wearing a headset. I'll have to get off and I'll have to.
So, it's obviously elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to compromise at all on this idea?
Yeah.
What if we...
I was thinking maybe like a mini bike on a barge that's like in a pool.
Yeah. So we know people with pools in LA.
Yeah.
We can go to Jeff Ross's house.
I don't know if he would have me there.
True. But him as an example. Who else do we know who has a pool?
It would
Pauly.
have to be a big pool.
Pauly.
He doesn't live at that house.
What about the one he's building right now? Hey, before you rent it out, that
We'll
one
see.
behind the comedy store, you just say, hey, just a week before you rent it out, can I shoot a comedy special in your pool?
We'll see. He's a tough one to get a favor from. You know that.
Yeah, he is. But I'm just saying, if you pull your resources, you could get something done. It may not be your version of it in your head. You're perfect. It may not be perfect, but you could do, if not that idea, whatever your next idea is.
Yeah.
You can do it.
I've got other ideas.
I
want to do a special while I'm getting a colonoscopy in, those operating rooms where it's like an auditorium, and call it In the Round.
You could probably do that with a simple Craigslist post,
I don't know. It would take doctors and a lot of legal matters.
Yeah, but maybe break the law a little bit. Maybe get.
I don't know if doctors are willing to break the law and risk their.
Here's how you do. Here's how you do this. You ever been to Tijuana?
Yeah.
We go find a Mexican colonoscopist. I don't know if that's the word for it.
Gastroenterologist.
Gastroenterologist in Mexico. Hey, I'll give you $500 to come with me to America and do this for me on stage. Boom. Done. Done. Now it's even funnier because you have a guy who doesn't even speak English from Mexico doing it to you. That's not even an American physician.
I like where your head's at.
I could tell you don't want to do it.
No, I do.
Okay, let's take a couple calls and then we'll end the podcast.
What calls do we take?
These are people calling in. They want your advice.
My advice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Our advice. You first. This is Candace Kane.
What I would like to ask is, I would like to ask advice on love. So I'm in a dilemma. I want to know whether or not true love is love that will be everlasting, or is it really based on security and what the person can do for you. I want to know whether or not I should follow my heart and take a risk with this person who I believe hits all of the things that I want, financially, mentally, emotionally, but I don't know if they're always going to love me. Or if I go with the person who I know will love me forever, but emotionally, financially, and physically can't really give me what I need, but I know he'll always be there. So The question is whether or not true love is about substance or is it about convenience. Please let me know what your thoughts are. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Candace, I think you got to ask yourself what's more important to you. Because I don't think it's a matter of true love. It just sounds like it's a matter of companionship and what kind of companionship you want. There was a little bit of, for lack of a better word, clunky explanation there, but it sounds like you're choosing between someone you feel a stronger emotional connection to and someone who has more security for you. And it's just up to you to decide which is more important. And there's no judgment on which you choose because both are equally important in this world. It's just a matter of what's more important to you.
Here are my thoughts on it. Drop them both. It doesn't need to be a choice, one or the other. Find someone that has everything you want. Some people, it's not important to have financials. For me, I've never met a girl and go, man, I wish she made more money. I've never had that thought ever because I don't care about that kind of stuff. But if you do, then that's on your checklist. So you have to find a guy who makes the amount of money you want him to make, but also loves you and has a emotional connection with you. There shouldn't be sacrifices. Not like that. Maybe there could be some sacrifices, but not those major issues. So if that's not someone, if you have two guys on your table right now and they each have half the things you want, ditch them both. Look for a guy that has both of the things you want.
Yeah. That's even better advice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Unlicensed Therapy with me, Ari Manis. We'll take one more call. This is from Timmy Pepe Rossini. Timmy Pepper. Oh, this might be a prank phone call.
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Timmy Peppercini. Appreciate you having me on. Calling in from sunny Culver City, California. And, I just got a couple questions for you. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, fake. But that's another day, another dollar. I've been here in lovely California doing this thing for a while now, doing this show business thing. And, I've seen so many people just tuck tail and run back east. And my question is, should I stay out here for passion and loving what I do, but still working for peanuts? Or should I fucking go back home, reassess, realign my values? Because, don't get me wrong, I fucking love it out here. It's fucking awesome. But, I'm not making enough money to pay this $1,800 a month for fucking rent. It's crazy. 2-bedroom fucking apartment, $1,800 a month.
Deal. That's a really good deal.
My question to you guys is, I'm seeking for the fucking advice is, what the fuck am I supposed to do? You're in the business. We're all in this fucking business. Some of us got a little bit more. I got a buddy, moved out here from fucking Jersey, goes down to Venice. He's got fucking 3 months worth of cash, 2 degrees, master's degree, some fucking else. And it seems like it's the people with the good families that always end up having to go back because they got security, But I feel like the people out here that ain't got much to lose, it does some sort of weird magic, and and that's where I'm at with this thing. That's where I'm at. I'm loving it. I've never been more fucking happy in my fucking life. Like
I think he just answered it for himself.
Yeah. You got to stay out here. You got to, especially. What are you going to go back to Brooklyn? It costs more to live there.
And you just said he's so happy. If you're happy, then what's the issue?
Also, I don't know what aspect of show business he's in, but if it's being some kind of a talent, a lot of it is just a game of persistence, waiting for the right thing to come along.
Yeah, it comes down to it where you listed a bunch of reasons why you liked about LA. The only bad thing I heard you say is it's expensive to live here.
And $1,800, dude, I'll take your apartment.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great deal. So it sounds like you know what you got to do. You just got to kick around and hope for the best. You sound like a unique character of a person.
Yeah.
I'm sure something.
Good name. Tommy Peppercini.
That can, yeah.
I'm originally from
maybe,
Brooklyn.
Yeah, maybe my advice is, go with your real name. I'd switch back to your real last name. That's my advice.
What if his name's like Thomas Poo Poo Pee Pee?
Yeah, go with that. Go with real, because right now it's like, I get it, you're from Brooklyn, I hear it, but it's like, yeah, maybe have a real last name. That's me.
Or don't.
Or don't, whatever you
People
want.
think my name's made up.
I never thought that. Sandy Danto. That's a catchy name.
It's a catchy name, yeah.
But
it's real. It's my real name.
I think the one thing we could take away from this episode is a quote from the great Ronnie Coleman, and that's, there ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Ain't nothing but a peanut.
Skeezy motherfuckers.
Anything you want to plug?
Check out my podcast, MFers, a parenting podcast. Check out my monthly show in the Improv Lab called Watch Me Chill. And that's pretty much it.
What about your Instagram? What's your Instagram?
At Sandy Danto. SandyDanto. Same with Twitter.
Maybe go see him live at the Comedy Store multiple times every week.
Love it.
The world famous Comedy Store. He'll bring you up on stage. He'll take a picture with you.
If you see me late night, you'll get to come up on a stage that not many people are allowed to go up on. So there's that.
And check him throughout the country, whether it's by himself or opening for Pauly Shore the Weasel, Josh Wolf, the pothead nice guy, Adam Ray, the funny, how do I describe him? Funny guy?
I would call Josh Wolf the storyteller, and I would call Adam the...
Yeah, I guess you're better at describing him.
The boy next door.
The boy next door.
Yeah.
You know what's... Oh, I just realized...
I sometimes go with Bobby Lee, too.
Oh, yeah, Bobby Lee. I apologize.
Once in a while.
You know what I just realized besides Bobby Lee?
What?
They're all Jews.
Yeah.
Adam, Pauly.
I remind them of someone they went to Hebrew school with. What can I say?
Thanks for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Ari.
Bye.
You're listening to
Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Manis.